good morning, class. How we doing? Welcome. Everybody enjoyed their lunch? Great. So you guys should all have energy. You guys should be ready to go. We got a few things we're going to go over today. Should be fun. We have a nice little exercise at the end. We're going to be doing a poster for you guys. Basically, you guys are going to be thinking about 5 reasons why the admiral has selected Connor to be his kind of right-hand man, right? His lieutenant. So, what we wanted to start out with the class discussion, okay? Like we always do, we kind of want to get a conversation going, guys. I want you guys to be thinking, listening, being respectful of when the person is talking, okay? But I want to just go over there's two words we're going to kind of parse up together. The words are sympathetic and unsympathetic, okay? So everybody say sympathetic, sympathetic. Now I want you to say unsympathetic, unsympathetic. Okay, great. When somebody's sympathetic, what do you think that means? When somebody is sympathetic. Yes, young man, go ahead. Sympathetic. When somebody's sympathetic, what does that mean? To you, okay. Got it, perfect. When somebody's sympathetic, that means they feel sorry for somebody when somebody is hurt or somebody is, is in a tough situation. Great. How about when somebody is unsympathetic? What does that mean when you're unsympathetic? Okay, it means you don't care. You don't care about the other person's feelings. Perfect. Okay, what does somebody do, or what can you say somebody does when, let's say they fall down and hurt themselves, and they're, on the floor, maybe they're bleeding. If somebody is sympathetic, what would they do? Okay, they might go over up and help them, right? Help them up, maybe help them get a Band-Aid, maybe call for help if it's serious enough. Right, they get involved because they feel sorry or they feel like that person that is hurting, they need help, and they go and help them. How would somebody react if they were unsympathetic? They wouldn't care, they'd leave them alone, maybe they'd laugh. Good, great. All right, cool. This is what we're going to do. All right, we're going to move on to our vocabulary, right? We'll go on to vocabulary. And remember, guys, when we're working on our vocabulary words, we're not just copying the definition straight from the dictionary or straight from the screen here. What you want to do is you want to read the definition, look away from the page, and then you're going to try to think about the key words within the definition and then write down what it means to you. Double check back and see if it makes sense to you and if it matches the definition, okay? The first word is emblem. All right, we'll look up emblem. And basically an emblem is a symbolic object, right? So like an eagle is the symbol of our country. It's our emblem. It's our national emblem, okay? So I'm going to just highlight here symbolic object. Okay, it represents a nation, an organization, or even a family. You've all seen family crests, right? You probably made them in junior high school in 6th grade. Raise your hand if you know what a symbol of the family is. Okay, maybe you've seen those. Maybe you've seen that before. Okay, the next one. The next one is morbid. Okay, morbid. And just guys, just so you know, it's just, just trying to go through some of these words here. We probably won't get through all of them because, just for the sake of time. But we're characterized by an abnormal or unhealthy interest in disturbing or unpleasant subjects. So when somebody has a an unhealthy interest in death and disease. Okay, when somebody has an abnormal or unhealthy interest, especially in death and disease. So somebody who's into death, right? They probably, like, you know, you guys know from wrestling, right? The Undertaker. He is morbid, right? He's the Undertaker. He's wearing black. He's, you know, he's all into death. His manager is the pallbearer, right? They're pretty creepy, and so you would consider them to be morbid, right? Kind of interested in death and disease. Okay. The next word is, after morbid, is luxurious. What do you think luxurious means? Can anybody explain luxurious before I even click on the definition? Okay, perfect. Write it down if you think you know the words, and then double check with me on the screen here. But luxurious is something very fancy, right? Something very fancy, something that's expensive, and I believe extremely comfortable, elegant, especially something that's involving great expense. So you can say it's elegant, expensive, something fancy, maybe like a fancy hotel is very expensive. Okay. Luxurious. The next word is reprimand. And if you notice, we have the page numbers there, so make sure you guys are keeping track of the page numbers, because we're going to be also looking at the context in the book. Okay? You'll be writing some of those down. Reprimand, a formal expression of disapproval. So if you do something wrong and then somebody disapproves of it, you likely will be reprimanded, right? You will get in trouble. You'll maybe they'll write you up. You'll be reprimanded. Maybe you'll serve a consequence. So it's a formal expression of disapproval. So reprimand, if you want to write a write-up, hey, that would be another name for a reprimand. But it's a sign of disapproval. Disapproval. All right, the next word is rueful. Rueful. On there. Rueful is extremely comfortable. Oh, that's luxurious. Sorry about that. Rueful. Expressing sorrow or regret. Okay? Expressing sorrow or regret. So when someone is sorrowful or regretful. Okay? But it says it's especially in a humorous way. So you might say sorry, you might say, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. But you're doing it in a humorous way. You might want to laugh things out, like, you can laugh about it now and still be a little bit embarrassed by what you did, and you can still show some, regret in that way. So you're expressing sorrow or regret, something's rueful. Next one is predatory. You guys know what a predator is, right? When someone is predatory, they usually prey on others. So you'll see a lot of times predatory lending. They'll ask you, hey, come and get a loan, a payday loan. and they don't tell you is a high interest rate. Okay, so they're trying to find people that are like will fall for it. Right? They're seeking to exploit others. So predatory means seeking to exploit others. It's another way to think of it. Okay. All right, next word is obscene. When something is obscene, it is very offensive. So when something's obscene, it's offensive or disgusting, not accepted, right? It's immoral or indecent. Okay. So any of those descriptions can help you with the definition. When something that's obscene, you don't want to look at it. Okay, it's usually having to do with sexual matters. Okay, it offends the moral principles. So it's not good. It's bad. Something that's obscene, it's no. Okay. The next word, and we'll use this one, is culprit. When someone is the culprit, they're responsible for the crime. They're the ones who did it. So who was the culprit? Who was the person responsible for the crime? So the person that's responsible for a crime or even a misdeed, it doesn't have to be a criminal offense. It could be, who was the culprit who broke the vase? Somebody had to do it. So they're the ones who did it, right? The culprit. Right? They're the cause of it. The next word, and we'll stop at this one, is feign. Feign means fake. So what rhymes with feign? Anybody? Rain, good. Feign rhymes with rain. Different spelling though, right? Not like the rain that falls down. All right, to pretend to be affected, so by a feeling or state of injury. So it's kind of like faking a feeling. So you can say it's pretending to have a certain feeling. Feign means to pretend a feeling. Okay. Make sense? All right, good. We're going to stop right there and we're going to move on. We're going to get into readings. I know you guys have read a lot of the chapter. I'm going to keep the audio book on. We're going to read about for hopefully less than 13 minutes. And we're going to stop it at a certain point. Okay? When I stop it, we're going to take some notes. And we're going to maybe list some of the reasons why the admiral has chosen Connor. Okay? So here's the poster here. It says, on your own, create a poster which lists the reasons why the admiral might have picked Connor out from the rest of the graveyard unwinds. We're going to list 5 reasons. And when you're done with your poster, hopefully we'll be able to present. Okay? You don't have to finish it today. You'll be able to have time to finish it later on. So, we have our extra period at the end. So I'll give you guys time to finish it then. Okay? So be thinking about 5 reasons. And we're going to be taking some notes as we read. Okay? I'll put the audio book on, and everybody got their books out. Great. Page 210. That's where we're going to start. We're about halfway through the page there.
Connor climbs the stairs with a bag of tools, hoping that whatever it is, he can get in and out quickly. Like everyone else, he has a morbid curiosity about the man, and he wonders about an old presidential jet looks like on the inside. But being under the Admiral's scrutiny scares the hell out of him. He steps through the...
All right, so we know right away that he has a morbid fascination, right? He thinks, oh my God, this guy is, maybe he's a killer, right? Maybe he's, something creepy about him. He kind of smells death around him, right? Perfect. All right.
hatch to find a couple of kids tidying up. They're younger kids that Connor doesn't know. He thought the Goldens might be in here, but they're nowhere to be seen. As for the jet, it's not nearly as luxurious as Connor had expected. The leather seats have tears. The carpet is almost worn through. It looks more like an old motorhome than Air Force One. Where's the Admiral? The Admiral steps out from the deeper recesses of the jet. Although Connor's eyes are still adjusting to the light, he can see the Admiral is holding a weapon. Connor, I'm glad you can make it. Connor winces at the sight of the gun, and at the realization the Admiral knows him by name. What do you need that for? Connor asks, pointing at the gun. Just cleaning it, says the Admiral. Connor wonders why he would still have a clip on the gun he was cleaning, but decides it's best not to ask. The Admiral puts the gun in the drawer and locks it. Then he sends the two kids off and seals the hatch behind them. This is exactly the kind of situation Connor feared most, and he can feel a rush of adrenaline begin to tingle in his fingers and toes. His awareness becomes heightened. You need me to fix something, sir? Yes, I do. My coffee maker. Why don't you just take one from the other planes? Because, says the Admiral calmly, I prefer to have this one repaired. He leads Connor through the jet, which seems larger on the inside than out, filled with cabins, conference rooms, and studies. You know, your name comes up quite often, the Admiral says. This is news to him, and not welcome news either. Why? First, for the things you repair, then for the fighting. Connor senses a reprimand on the way. Yes, he's had fewer fights here than usual, but the Admiral is a man of zero tolerance. Sorry about the fighting. Oh, don't be. There's no question that you're a loose cannon, but more often than not, you're aimed in the right direction. I don't know what you mean, sir. From what I can see, each fight you've engaged in has resolved one problem or another. Even the fights you lose. So even then, you're fixing things. He offers Connor that white...
Okay, so, really quick. Even when you're fighting and you lose, you're still fixing things, okay? So, when somebody is a fighter, right? You guys can relate to this. There's usually a reason why there's a fight, right? You're defending yourself, or you're defending somebody else, and so the Admiral recognizes Connor as a fighter. He says you're a loose cannon, but most often you are pointed in the right direction. So he kind of pops off. Well, usually most of the times he's in the right standing. Okay?
A toothed smile. Connor shudders. He tries to hide it, but he's sure the Admiral can see it. They come to a small dining room and gallery. Here we are, says the Admiral. The old coffee maker sits on the counter. It's a simple device. Connor's about to pull out a screwdriver to open up the back when he notices that it's not plugged in. When he plugs it in, the light comes on and starts to gurgle out coffee into the little glass pot. Well, how about that, says the Admiral, with another of his terrible grins. I'm not here for the coffee maker, am I? Have a seat, the Admiral says. I'd rather not. Have one anyway. That's when Connor sees the picture. There are several photos up on the wall, but the one that captures Connor's attention is of a smiling kid about his age. The smile looks familiar. In fact, it looks exactly like the Admiral's smile. It's just like Roland had said. Now Connor wants to bolt, but Reese's voice is in his head again, telling him to scan his options. Sure, he can run. Chances are, he can get to the hatch before the Admiral can stop him. But opening the hatch won't be easy. He could hit the Admiral with one of his tools. That might give him enough time to get away. But where would he go? Beyond the graveyard, there's just desert, and more desert. In the end, he realizes his best choice is to do as the Admiral says. He sits down. "You don't like me, do you?" asked the Admiral. Connor won't meet his gaze. "You saved my life by bringing me here. You will not avoid answering the question. You don't like me, do you?" Connor shudders once more, and this time doesn't even try and hide it. "No, sir, I don't." "I want to know your reasons." Connor lets out a single, rueful chuckle as his answer. "You think I'm a slave dealer," says the Admiral, "and that I'm using these unwinds for my own profit. If you know what I'm going to say, why ask me? I want you to look at me." But Connor doesn't want to see the man's eyes, or more accurately, doesn't want the Admiral seeing his. "I said, look at me." Reluctantly, Connor lifts his eyes and fixes them on the Admiral. "I'm looking." "I believe you're a smart kid. Now I want you to think. Think. I'm a decorated Admiral of the United States Navy. Do you think I need to be selling children to earn money? I don't know. Think. Do I care about money and lavish things? I do not live in a mansion. I do not vacation on tropical island. I spend my time in the stinking desert, living in a rotting plane 365 days a year. Why do you think that is? I don't know. I think you do." Connor stands up now. In spite of the Admiral's tone of voice, he feels less and less intimidated by him. Whether it's wise or whether it's foolhardy, Connor decides to give the Admiral what he's asking for. "You do it because of the power. You do it because it lets you keep hundreds of helpless kids in the palm of your hand. And you do it because you can pick up and choose who gets unwound and which parts you get." The Admiral is caught off guard for this.
Okay, so the Admiral's caught off guard because now Connor's revealing his morbid thoughts, right? He's saying, you're the one that's responsible. You pick and choose who gets unwound from here. You take the body parts. And he's telling them his theory. He's being honest with them. Okay, he's telling them, "Hey, you don't like me, huh?" And he responds, "No, I don't." So you see there, he's being honest with them. Okay. I'm going to fast forward a little bit, and we kind of went through this earlier about how he discovers all the dead bodies, in the crate, and then what happens is he wants Admiral wants Connor to see for himself, what the situation is, so because he believes Connor will be able to handle what needs to happen next.
Admiral, do something this horrible. "I was meant to discover them," the Admiral says. "They left my golf cart here this morning so that I would. Make no mistake about it, Connor. This is an act of war. They have made a surgical strike. These 5 were my eyes and ears among the kids here. Now I have none." The Admiral takes a moment to look at the dark hole of the hold. "Tonight, you and I will come back here to bury them." Connor swallows hard at the prospect. He wonders who pissed him off in heaven to get singled out to be the Admiral's new lieutenant. "We'll bury them far away," says the Admiral, "and we will tell no one that they're dead. Because if word gets out, the culprits will have their first victory. If someone does start talking, and they will, we'll track the rumors down to the guilty party." "And then what?" Connor asks. "And then justice will be served. Until then, this must be our secret." As Connor chauffeurs him back to the plane, the Admiral makes his business with Connor clear. "I need a new set of eyes and ears. Someone to keep me abreast of the state of things among the unwinds. And someone to ferret out the wolf in the herd. I'm asking you to do this for me. So, you want me to be a spy? Whose side are you on? Are you on my side? Or the side of whoever did this?" Connor now knows why the Admiral brought him here and forced him to see this for himself. It's one thing to be told, and another one entirely to discover the bodies. It makes it brutally clear to Connor where his allegiance must lie. "Why me?" Connor has to ask. The Admiral gives him his white dentured smile. "Because you, my friend, are the least of all evils." The next morning, the Admiral...
All right, we'll stop right there. I think we can gather enough evidence to support our reasons why the admiral has chosen Connor, all right? So let's just go over some of this. I'm gonna go ahead and use the whiteboard here. And let's see what I can do. Let's just use the whiteboard here at this point, and I'll just write it down. We'll take our notes, but let's turn the page. Let's go back up. We're going to be on page 211, and right away we see how Connor feels about the admiral. Okay, I keep saying admirable. So he says, have a seat, come on in. Remember, he sees the gun, right? He sees the gun, he has a rush of adrenaline, and he says that he has a heightened awareness, right? So we know that Connor is very aware of the situation. Right? Would you say that's a good quality, having awareness, especially in a dangerous situation? Good. I think the admiral recognizes that. The next thing we would say, page 212, he says, you're a loose cannon, but you're pointed in the right direction most of the time. So he usually makes good decisions, right? He makes quick decisions. You know, a cannon kind of goes kind of quickly, but he makes those decisions. Most of the time he's right, okay, when he makes those decisions. Okay, he also says that he solves problems. He's a problem solver, right? When he fights, even when he loses, he's solving a problem. Remember when he was protecting Risa, and we saw how he stepped in and Roland and he defended Risa against Roland, and he was solving a problem right there. Okay. Also, what happens with the coffee pot? You guys remember? He tells him, "Hey, come on, fix this." He knows he's mechanical. He knows he can, fix things. He says, "Hey, all right. It just needs to be plugged in." So he figures things out. He's able to fix things. Also, remember when he thinks he wants to run. And he says, "Oh wow, I got to get out of here." He goes, "But he's gonna scan his options. If he's thinking and he's taking his time to weigh his options out. So that's a good skill to have, and I think that's another reason. He's honest, right? He's straight up. He's blunt. He tells him, "I don't like you. You're right. I don't like you." Right? And I think the Admiral even tells him on page 213, "Hey, you're a smart kid." So those are a lot of things right there, guys, we have in this book to create our poster. Okay, you can design it however you want. It must have a background. Make sure you put a background, and you guys know where they're at. They're in the airplane junkyard. So just remember where they're at. You can think about it that way. And I want you to just write some quotes around the poster about why the Admiral is now chosen Connor to be his lieutenant. Okay? Go ahead and start on that. I'm going to be going around. Are there any questions? Okay, great. Let's work on that and then. Perfect. All right, that's it, man. That's what we got. it's an empty class, so thank you for watching.